Unfortunately, this month of April does have to end for our Seattle Mariners. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. The Mariners complete a mini two-game sweep of the Angels. They win this one this afternoon 9-3. They improve to 18-12 on the season. The calendar will switch over to May tomorrow. Mariners don't play till Thursday, but April is officially over and it completes an outstanding month of baseball for our Seattle Mariners. Before I go any further, do me a favor. Smash the like button, hit the like button, whatever. It helps out tremendously. Comment your thoughts on the team and the game down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button as I'm on the road to 5,000 subs. Thank you to all the new subscribers and ones that have been with me for the long haul. I appreciate every single one of you. Quick injury news update. Luke Raley is going to be out with the oblique injury for a minimum of 6 weeks. And it sounds like 6 weeks is when he will resume baseball activities. So you're probably looking like 8 to 10 weeks. That puts in a time frame where I would honestly just shoot for All-Star break. It's a shame that this team is battling a lot of injuries. I mean, their entire right field platoon, if you want to call it that, Robles and Raley is out. Dylan Moore should be back next week. That's going to be huge. They're going to need Dylan Moore to cover right field probably in the meantime. So they've already lost Ryan Bliss. They're dealing with Logan Gilbert. I respect what this team is doing, fighting through this and still next man up mentality. And they're getting those performances from those next guys up. Like I said yesterday, it would just be a shame if a season that looks really promising were to be derailed by injuries. I mean, the one positive you can take from it is if you can, if you kind of want to look at it like these guys come back in July, if the Mariners can just kind of hold serve, even if they just played, and this is going to sound like a negative way to put it, but I truly mean as a positive, they can play 500 ball, and hopefully they play better, but if they can do that until like July or something, I mean, you're getting potentially Luke Raley back, Victor Robles back, George Kirby back, hopefully before then, Logan Gilbert, hopefully before then, but you're getting all these guys back. I'm not trying to say you look at those as deadline acquisitions or anything like that, but you could have a lot of horses coming in for the stretch run, as long as, assuming you get the guys back. Wouldn't be shocked if the Mariners pull off a trade somewhere. I always talk about I'll use an example, the Carlos Santana trade. I thought was a perfect, kind of pre-trade deadline acquisition that, could not have filled the need better. You had Ty France out with the injury at the time. Santana was the perfect addition. I don't know who that is, but I would not be shocked if the Mariners are looking for, guys that are either A, blocked right now, kind of 4A players, kind of like Dom Canzone type players that are hitting well in, their AAA, but are kind of blocked. Maybe teams that have young prospects that are ready to take over in the outfield, and they've got, an outfielder that can, be traded, maybe a Tommy Pham, someone like that. I don't know if these guys are even playing well or not, but I'm just throwing out kind of names and profiles. Or, a strictly a fourth outfielder, your Connor Joes, your Stuart Fairchilds, guys like that. They're always kind of bouncing around. This year's Victor Robles, maybe that guy's out there somewhere. Jared Kelenic was just sent down to AAA in Atlanta. I mean, they're going to need some help because, congrats to Rylan Thomas on getting the call. I think Samad Taylor can stick and have some value to the team, but I think you'd like someone in the outfield right now that's just a little bit more seasoned and a little bit, more upside. Me and Mariner Sir were talking. It's really a shame Dom Canzone dropped off, because even like a 2023 Dom Canzone with Samad Taylor would make some sense right now and be, serviceable to get you through. But we'll see what they end up doing. I wouldn't be shocked in the next week if you see some kind of outfielder acquired here by the Mariners, but I'm sure they're still looking for pitching depth a little bit. Now let's move into the positive, and that's another great win today for the Seattle Mariners. They pull it out 9-3. I mean, again, 9 runs, and I know I'm being spoiled now because I'm going to say they scored 9 runs, and I don't think this was their best offensive game. That 7th inning when they scored 6 runs was probably their most BABIP-y inning I've seen this year. Kind of a lot of seeing eye singles that went through. But again, the fact that I'm saying in a game where the Mariners scored 9, I don't think was their best offensive effort, says a lot. I mean, Tyler Anderson's been really good this year. I thought they did fine against him. They did, destroy him out there on the mound, but they did enough, put some pressure on him, put some runs on the board. I thought Emerson Hancock threw the ball well. I did go back and watch the game. I was at work today. Sometimes I don't go back and watch it. Listen, if the Mariners lose 13-0, I am not going to go back and watch the game. I do not have the energy for that. But when they win, it's more fun to do it. And, I thought a lot of just kind of bloops were falling in on Emerson Hancock. Soler got him for a home run. Soler's got good power, and it was just kind of pulled down the left field line. It wasn't crushed necessarily. I thought Hancock was fine. I thought he threw the ball exactly how he wanted to do. I don't know if he was, I don't think he pitched the ball as well as he did in Fenway Park, but if this is what you can get from Emerson Hancock, and fingers crossed that, George Kirby's back here in early June, late May, and Logan Gilbert, everything checks out fine in a couple weeks, and he's, on the mend in early to mid-June or something like that. This is perfectly fine and what you want from Emerson Hancock. No, I don't think he threw the ball well, gave his team a chance to win the game. So that is absolutely perfect. I will take that from Emerson Hancock each time out. And I continue to be impressed. I probably pushed the get rid of this guy button too fast after one game. I think it was just a frustration of not having Kirby and then seeing him go out there and giving up all those runs before even getting a second out in the inning. And it was just super frustrating at the time. But he has certainly settled in and giving better performances than you got from the Pebble. And like I said, I think in his last 3 starts, he's been legitimately good, had the ground balls working, almost got that double play on Neto's RBI ground out. That first inning, the first couple hits were both, kind of just little parachute singles that dropped in on him. So, I do continue to be impressed by Emerson Hancock's work. So let's go ahead and dive into the box score. Hancock, 6 innings, 9 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, 2 walks, 4 Ks. Again, like some of those hits, I think a little, like I said, a little bit of BABIP on him. I thought Hancock threw the ball well. I guess I just talked about it. Why I talked about it again. Exactly what you want from him in that performance. So good job by Emerson Hancock today to get it done. Casey Legumina pitches an inning, gives up a hit and a walk. Nice job by Legumina. The Angels in the top of the 7th got to 2nd and 3rd with 1 out. He gets O'Hoppe to pop out and then gets Rengifo out. Not the best inning of all time. He put himself in a tough spot, but he works himself out of it. Definitely the bullpen's still looking a little bit for a bridge guy, to Munoz, Spire. Again, you hope that's Matt Brash. I know he didn't pitch very well the other day in Tacoma. I think he's had a couple tough, rough outings. But again, it's about building up the stamina. It's not about the results so much for Brash. It's just getting him used to, can he pitch back-to-back days? Can he come into the middle of an inning and get out of it? Can he start an inning and get out of it? So, I hopefully we'll see Brash soon. I'm not sure when, but I would assume the next week or so we'll see Matt Brash finally. We got to remember too, I'm in my head, I'm like, oh, Brash had just been out this year, but he missed all of last year as well. So, got to be a little patient with that. I think the Mariners are doing the right thing. And again, relievers, you don't want to say it's an easy thing to acquire, but, there's always the Jimmy Garcias that are available at the deadline that can, and I know Garcia got hurt last year, but until then, I thought he was pitching really well. Those guys will be available, so you can make those changes if you need to. But, Legumina did his job. I'm not trying to say he didn't, but I do think the Mariners, they've kind of gone with Thornton, Vargas, Legumina, Bizzardo, who's going to be that guy. Bizzardo does throw a shutout 8th inning, up 9-3. I don't really judge those outings too much. Throw strikes, get the outs. Bizzardo did that. And Troy Taylor with the shutout 9th inning. Speaking of guys that could be bridge guys for this pitching staff, Troy Taylor could be one. Troy Taylor was great down the stretch last year for the Mariners in the second half of the season. That rough first outing this year. Listen, he faced 3 batters in Cincinnati, 3 batters reached, and then 3 guys scored. It happens. I don't think I think we noticed it a little bit more, felt the sting a little bit more because he was sent down afterwards. But I think it was just more of a roster churn. Like they needed a fresh arm, and Taylor's one of the few guys that has options that can be sent down. So, now that we've seen him throw a couple shutout innings here since coming back, think you're seeing that Troy Taylor is fine. I thought the stuff looked good. I thought the breaking ball looked pretty good today. So, Taylor could be the guy. I think that's probably your most likely on-staff player that can come in and be that bridge guy, the potential best guy that's on the roster right now for that role. So good to see Troy Taylor back up in the bump, and really hope he sticks on the team and doesn't have another fallback and get sent down, because I really do think he can help. Nice job by the pitching staff today. Perfectly done, right? 6 innings from your starter. Legumina gets out of that 7th, and Bizzardo and Taylor finish it up for you, get you out the W. Nice job by the pitching staff today. Let's look at the offense. Hey, 5 for 12 with runners in scoring position. Kind of an opposite day today. They actually did most of their damage with runners on a little bit, except that I think it was the 2nd inning, Julio with the bases loaded popped up. That was a little frustrating. But actually kind of got the job done today. Like I said, listen, anytime you score 9 runs, it's a beautiful thing. And the fact that I don't think this was their best offensive showing and they almost scored 10 just shows you how good the offense really has been this year. Let's look at the box score. JP in the leadoff role, and a phenomenal game for JP. 2 for 4, 2 RBIs and a walk. Again, JP just quietly on base 3 times. We talk about people that need to bounce back. We talked about needing the Garver bounce back, right? That was going to be a big one. Who else did I talk? Boy, why am I blanking now? Polanco. Polanco bouncing back. But I think kind of forgotten was we need a JP Crawford bounce back this season. He didn't have to be 2023 JP, but he had to be better than he was in 24, and probably better than he was in 22 as well. And you're absolutely getting that. One of the best eyes in baseball. Even last year, he was still patient at the plate. I think it makes sense in that leadoff role, especially against lefties when you don't have Dylan Moore available. I'm fine with JP at the bottom of the order, kind of having that almost second leadoff guy to roll over the lineup. But JP's swinging too good of a bat right now, and is too good of an eye to leave him in the 9 hole. I think he's got to be moved up. I'm not a big batting order guy. Again, I've said that many times. It's not that I don't think there's optimum lineups. I just think that, this year's a perfect example, right? Remember last year the Mariners were struggling, and we'd all kind of debate well, he shouldn't be hitting 4th. Well, he shouldn't be hitting 5th. We haven't had any debates this year. You know why? Because they're hitting. They're just hitting. Because it doesn't really matter where they are in the lineup. They're putting the bat and ball and scoring a lot of runs. So, and I don't think it's that Dan has put in this he's found the hidden juice in terms of lineup construction. I think the guys are just playing better baseball, and it's worked out. But yeah, every time I do these, JP just quietly he was on base twice. Oh, he was on base 3 times. So nice job by JP. Julio 1 for 5 with an RBI. Like I said, frustrating at bat in that 2nd inning there. Chance to really bust that game open early. But, Anderson's been pitching well this year. He has. Sometimes good pitchers will get you. Julio does rebound with that double off the wall in the 8th inning. Just hit too much on a line to get out of there. Otherwise, if that's 2 feet higher, that's probably a home run. So again, talk about wanting to see some slugging. We do get the RBI double from Julio. Cal 1 for 5. Boy, that was crazy. Cal's RBI single. I don't think you could have planned that better. Julio goes down and dives, stealing 3rd, and the ball just goes perfectly over Julio for an RBI single for the big dumper. So, listen, Cal with only the 1 hit, but it was a big one. It scored that 7th run of the game. Cal also scores runs, some good base running from Cal. He scores. That was another one, a lot of BABIP, I thought, in that 7th inning. Then they get the run on Randy is... I think Cal reaches on an error. Randy strikes out when Cal's trying to steal 3rd, and then the ball gets away, and Cal ends up coming home with it. Some of the big dumper manufacturing a run on the base pass. Cal's got sneaky speed. I love seeing Cal steal bases. He's a sneaky 7 to 10 stolen base guy. Listen, the Mariners, I haven't talked about it a lot, except that one game in Toronto where they were a mess on the base pass. But, we talk about all the stats that are up there, and stolen bases is another one. Now, sometimes, that can be risky because you can get thrown out stealing bases, and that's brutal, when you got a chance to, add on runs. There was one on Friday against Miami when Rowdy was up and Luke Raley tried to steal second when they're down 2, which I thought was kind of dumb because, Rowdy's got good pop. You want to see if he can get into one right there and tie the game up. So you can live by the stolen base and die by the stolen base. But when it works and the other team's throwing the ball around, it is a beautiful thing. So Cal making things happen on the base pass. Randy Rosarena, 2 for 4, a base hit and a solo home run in the second, a crushed one to left field, his 5th of the season. A little bit of a rough homestand for Randy, but good to see him finish on a high note. Mitch Garver, 0 for 2, but with 2 walks. Continue to be impressed with Garver's at-bats. He's found a little bit of slugging on the last road trip in this homestand with his first home run and first double. Garver kind of doing what you need him to do, right? Like, if you look at him as a backup catcher, can hit left-handed pitching. I mean, coming in today, WRC plus was 114. It's probably gone up with a couple walks. Again, you'd like to see some hits from him, but if they're not getting strikes, the walk works as well. So, and a stolen base for Mitch Garver. Mitch is second of the year, so Mitch getting it done on the base pass. Donovan Solano, 2 for 3. Good to see a couple hits from Solano. Almost had the RBI single, but Garver was held up at third in that second inning. Good to see, right? Solano hitting against lefties. And with all these injuries, need some people to step up. I know it's not Solano's position that's hurt, but if Solano can pick it up and start hitting a little bit like he's done in his career, it's going to alleviate some pressure. You can live with Samad Taylor in right field if you got Solano hitting like 2024 Donovan Solano. So all those things will help. Not a bad homestand for Solano. He mixed in some hits, right? Starting to get better a little bit. And listen, a guy like Solano is not going to see that OPS jump up 500 points because he's not a guy that's going to go 5 for 5 with 4 doubles and a solo home run. He's kind of a singles guy, a few doubles mixed in there. So it's going to take some time, but a better homestand for him, right? He had the double against Miami and a couple hits today. Good to see. Maybe this is the start of it for Donovan Solano. Would be huge. Polanco pinched hit, bases loaded, nobody out. Oh, I thought for sure, I'm like, Polo's hitting a grand slam here. I had zero doubt in my mind. I even said, like, he's going deep. I knew he didn't go deep because I had known the results of the game. But in my head, I'm like, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. Hey, that's fine. The Mariners still won. Save it for Texas. Polanco, 0 for 1 pinched hit. Tellez came in for defensive purposes. Ben Williamson, 0 for 4. Probably the worst couple game stretch for Ben Williamson. Rough homestand for him. Do remember he was dealing with some back spasms on Sunday, so that could be affecting him a little bit. The glove is still worth it. It's going to take Ben Williamson just being a legitimate offensive black hole for me to go, ooh, they got to make a change. Right now, it has really helped the roster. I'm fine with it. And the team's winning, right? So, but if Williamson can have another hot streak, again, with the injuries you're dealing with, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world either. Leo Rivas just continues to be a pest. 3 for 4, the run scored, and 2 RBIs. Leo Rivas is the type of player that if I was not a Mariners fan and my team was playing the Mariners, I would absolutely drive me nuts because nothing's really hit hard, but he has good at-bats, he's patient, and he just finds a hole, in the diamond. Even that single in the 7th inning to really open it up at 9-3. Nothing crazy, just put bat on ball and make things happen. He had the RBI single in the second as well. Listen, this is what you need, right? The next man up is working for this team. Ben Williamson has been next man up. Leo Rivas has been next man up. Miles Mastroboni has been next man up, and these guys are delivering. So is it sustainable for Rivas? No, Leo Rivas is not going to OPS. What is he at? 880. And his OBP is like 500. Not going to continue. But it doesn't have to continue all year. If you can just get that for a few more weeks, every game is a step closer to some guys coming back. So it doesn't have to be sustainable. And it counts, right? Like, I'm not predicting the future right now. We're talking about the right now, and that's the Mariners being 18-12. And then Samad Taylor 1 for 4 with a base hit and a run scored. I believe it was on the bunt, right, in the 7th inning to move over Rivas. Taylor gets it down, and first and second, speed kills. First and second, nobody out. Then the pass ball, and it just floodgates open for our Seattle Mariners. The great thing about the start the Mariners are off to at 18-12 with the injuries is they've bought themselves some wiggle room with their record. If they go 500 over the next 30 games, they're going to be sitting there at 32 or 33 and 27. That is absolutely fine. Like, of course I want them to play better. Go 20-10, but they're banged up right now. They don't have to play amazing baseball to survive this. If they can just start getting guys back, just do what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, they have a really tough schedule coming up here. Now you got Texas, the A's, Houston's coming down the pipe. Toronto's not a bad team. They're coming to T-Mobile, the Yankees come at T-Mobile. I think Milwaukee's in there. And then the White Sox are mixed in. I was talking to Mariner Sir about it. I'm like, if you can go 500 and sweep the White Sox, you're 9 games above 500 in that stretch. So, this team is putting itself in good position. Listen, we're only 30 games in. There is so much baseball left to be played. 132 games left. But they've set themselves up well to where even if these injuries affect them, if they can just hold on, go 500, you're okay. Of course, again, hope they do better than that. I absolutely do. I believe in it, and hopefully they do. But they don't have to right now. Get guys back healthy and then go on the run as well. Now, if you want to mix in, 2 or 3 over 500 in that stretch, that's great too, right? If maybe they go 20 and 18 over the next 38. I mean, that's going to put you 8 games over 500. There's no way that's not at least within a game in the division and leading a wild card spot at that point. With Logan Gilbert coming back and Luke Raley coming back and Victor Robles coming back, that's huge. That is absolutely huge. The team is in good position. The injuries stink, but they are in good shape where they don't have to be amazing while these guys are out to still be right there and ready to maybe take this American League West. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll be back Friday for the post-game recap against the Rangers. Take care, everybody, and as always, go Mariners. Peace.